Okay, fellow golfers, I thought that since I mentioned in the last clip that I would do something on lefties, I would quickly cover 10 points that face lefties in golf that can be difficult or frustrating. Firstly, very few clubs, relatively speaking, are available in left hand, and that can be sometimes frustrating because you'd like to be able to not only try them but perhaps even they may suit your game. For example, recently there's a release of the Mizuno JPX 921 forged. It used to be available in left hand in the 919 series. The 921 is no longer available in left hand, sadly. The new Wilson MIM irons that have just come out or are coming out are not coming out in left hand, and so on. So the availability of clubs is limited. It's even more so the case when even for some of those that are available, many stores wouldn't even carry them for you to even look at them, let alone try them in the store or in demo sessions. In some cases, particularly more recent releases, they haven't yet got them in left hand, sometimes till several months later. It's actually hard to then find used clubs in left hand because there aren't that many around. Where they are around, they're obviously limited in options of shafts and specifications because it's whatever somebody has sold on or sold to a resale place. Fourth, instruction, whether be it on YouTube or elsewhere, can be quite difficult because you continuously have to think about the opposite of what they're saying, because almost all instruction is right hand for right hand golfers. So when they say lean left or lean right, you have to think the opposite. Sometimes that's not too difficult because you can imagine it as a mirror, and so that can be actually rather helpful. But it's very easy to actually get mistaken and then actually do the wrong thing, even in your drills or tips or practice sessions. So following instruction is quite difficult. Fifth, courses are really set up much more for right-hand players, and so left-handers have to think very carefully about the course setup and how to play the course, and not necessarily follow what partners mostly would be right-handers or other players that you may have just watched off the tee are tackling a particular shot. As a left-hander, you have to think a little bit differently, and so you have to really work out your course management and course strategy on your own and a little bit more carefully. Fifth, the range setup is also a challenge. Most golf ranges are not set up for left hand. Some of them don't even have any left hand tees set up. So you can of course take it off the mat, but if you want to put in the rubber piece or a tee to practice, it can be challenging. And where there are some left hand bays, they're very limited. Next, gloves. Gloves are a bit of a challenge in the sense that most stores you would go to, most shops would not carry many what would be your right hand glove for a left hander. It's all left hand gloves for right handers. As a result, I tend to get most of my gloves online because that's where you can actually find some options. But of course, again, if there's a particular type of glove that you like, whether it's a brand or whether it's leather versus synthetic, etc., you might not find the availability in left hand. So your ability to sort of scan and feel and try the right hand glove for a left hander is limited. Similarly, training tools and aids are often only in right hand, and I'm not now referring to things like GPS devices or Swing Caddy or Live View. You'll have seen a clip of mine on live view. It's a fantastic device. But physical training devices, with the exception where it's like an armband and therefore it makes no difference. But the hanger, for example, I did a clip on it. Fortunately, they brought that out in left hand. Although it wasn't available everywhere, I actually had to wait for it for several months to become available, even online, to obtain it. But many of those physical aids are not available in left hand. On the course, and before you tee off in particular, you have to really be very mindful as a left-hander of your periphery, because a lot of others, being right-handers, may stand actually as if you're a right-hander, and therefore maybe possibly not only in the way, but you have a danger of hitting them or hitting towards them if you don't watch your periphery very careful and actually ask them to move slightly. It's not entirely their fault, because they're just used to standing where they do stand for other right-handers. But something to be careful of and mindful of as a left-hander. When ordering clubs, I have found that even though I've actually even ordered some things online, specified as left-hander, made the selection of the left hand, sometimes they've arrived, the right-hand version has arrived. So you really need to double check and re-verify either with the store or on the online order that they are in fact sending you the left-hand version and not the right-hand. Because for them, again, mostly it's right-hand orders, and somebody in the sales department perhaps, or in the packing department, just put in the right-hand version, or sometimes even orders specified a particular club, but they did it in right-hand instead of left-hand. So I tend to put it in bold and capitals, even ring the store or the online merchant and reconfirm that it's the left-hand version that they are obtaining for me. Just to add another one, obviously when it comes to sort of mimicking pros, there's not a lot of left-handers to mimic, unless you're Canadian. There seems to be a lot more Canadian left-handers than others. But so everyone tends to sort of compare you to Phil Mickelson. Not that that's a bad thing, although few of us would marry up to that. Fortunately, my short game is somewhat good, and particularly my lob shots and things are very much like Phil Mickelson, so I actually do like to look in his case. But I will do a dedicated clip on Phil Mickelson and his wedge game fairly soon. So do subscribe, put the notifications on, put a like if you like this, particularly if you're a lefty, let me know. Share this with other lefties, and I hope they find also the other clips very useful, particularly since I've been doing everything as a left-hander, although being very mindful of giving the descriptions and instructions for a right-hander. See you on the flip side, my friends.